All right, it's time now for better books. You know, you might be stuck inside more this winter, but that doesn't mean you have to be bored, Kara.
It's a great time to curl up with a good book. And Lori Fazio from RJ Julia's is showing us some winter-themed books just to keep your mind occupied. Get you a little snuggle with your blanket. Welcome, Lori.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Well, for one thing, winter is here, isn't it, Lori?
Winter is here. So we're going to talk about kids' books today. And Winter is Here is our first choice. Kevin Henkes is one of my favorite all-time children's authors. I used to read a lot of his books even when my kids were younger, and they're in their 20s now, so he's been around. This book tells about all the different things. It talks about snow. It talks about ice. It talks about how you have to bundle up. It talks about what you can do settling inside. And it's just a really, really cute book with great illustrations. And then, of course, it does give you the hope of spring at the very end, which is always a nice thing to know about that's coming after all this snow. And then I wanted to talk about snowbirds. And so one thing that we found at the bookstore is that a lot of people are buying books about birding. This is a picture book, so it's not necessarily, a serious book about birding, but there are different kinds of books, birds in this book. And it talks about ones that you'll see in the wintertime. So it's great for kids, if they're having a snow day or if they just, look outside and they want to see the different birds and identify them. So it gives the black-capped chickadee and the ruffed grouse, the great gray owl. So it gives all kinds of, facts about them, but not too detailed. You could read it with some of the youngers. And if you really want to make it interactive, add a little cardinal finger puppet or a different bird puppet if you want to get the kids, interacting with you, learning about the birds, and then they can go and observe what they see outside.
Yeah, I love
so they're two really fun picture books.
Love the fact that they have a beautiful male and a female cardinal on the cover of that book.
So pretty, so pretty, yeah.
Cover's gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
And another one is called Winter House.
Yes. So Winter House is a middle grade book. So this is for your, maybe reading it with a 6 or 7-year-old, depending on their level, up to, 10, 11, maybe even 12. And so Winter House by Ben Gooderson, there's 3 books in the series, and it's a mystery, but it's not too detailed where the kids won't understand. And, it's not like an Agatha Christie where there's too many characters. And it's really, really well written. It's written by a teacher who knows his audience. So he does a really good job of being able to, relay what he wants to the kids that age.
I think it's great when teachers, because they really know their audience and they can really, resonate with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And then for the sports fan, and it's called The Year in Sports. I mean, the kids haven't had many sports, so they can read about them.
Exactly. So there were things that went on. And so this is a scholastic book that's put out. And really I wanted to talk about, there's some misconception that if your child isn't reading a fiction book or isn't reading a novel or whatever, that they're not reading. But really, if they're reading anything, it's important. So, and it's good for them. So this is for, something like this. And we have lots of nonfiction, factual books and whatever. But sports, reading about the different athletes, what they did. It goes into some 2019, some 2020, and it tells about what they did in COVID and, who was athletes of the year. So it's just a fun book that you're reading facts and you're reading, and that's really important.
All right, and then we have Game Changer.
Yeah, so the last book, this is a young adult book. Neil Schusterman is a great, great friend of the store, and his books are just fascinating. They're a little bit of, I wouldn't call them quite sci-fi, but there's some, non-realistic things that goes on. And this is about a football player who, obviously he's been tackled and whatnot. And he's like, oh, I feel like I've been shaken up, in this last one because my life just doesn't seem quite as it has been. So he's in a new dimension. And Neil just, again, he's not a teacher, but he knows his audience and he loves the young adult crowd, and they just flock to his books. We've got signed first editions in both stores in Madison and in Middletown. And we just did an event with Neil that you can also see up on our YouTube channel. He's fabulous. His books are really, really well written, and they just grab you from page 1 and bring you all the way through.
I'm glad he's a friend of the store too. That makes me happy.
Yeah, and I like the cover, and I'm intrigued.
Yeah, very intrigued, right? Thank you, Lori. We appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, you too.